The Black Lives Matter movement in the grips of a legal battle centered around this man. He's accused of stealing more than $10 million in donations. The infighting among activists has been simmering for months before finally escalating into a full-on confrontation. Black Lives Matter chapters around America suing their central fundraising arm and its newly installed director, Shalomyah Bowers, accusing him of stealing millions of dollars in donations to line his own pockets. Bowers and the Global Network Foundation flat out deny those accusations, calling them slanderous and devoid of reality. They say they've attempted to privately resolve this issue with the grassroots groups on 10 separate occasions, instead accuse them of financial malfeasance and misusing funds, including an unsanctioned trip to Jamaica and $10,000 monthly stipends for leaders who claimed they were volunteers. So joining us now is Erica Smith. She is a writer for the LA Times who wrote a column on these allegations and the corresponding lawsuit. Erica, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Okay, so this is somewhat convoluted. There are a lot of accusations being tossed around here on both sides, and each side essentially accusing the other of misusing millions worth of BLM funding. Erica, is one side right here? Is the other side wrong? Or do both sides have valid points?
I mean, I think a lot of that we're going to find out, I think, as this lawsuit goes forward. As you said, there's a lot of accusations being thrown around, both by the chapters which make up Black Lives Matter Grassroots and by the nonprofit foundation, which Shalomyah Bowers and the rest of the board of directors handle. This fighting has been going on for a long time over funds, and there's not a lot of clarity. And I think the public has been asking for it. And so I think we'll just have to see what happens with this lawsuit.
And Erica, obviously, infighting within any organization is certainly nothing new. We hear about it, we read about it all the time. But you recently wrote this article where you cited Pew Research. It found 40% of Black Americans believe Black Lives Matter has done, quote, the most to help Black people in recent years. So, Erica, how does this infighting between these BLM factions impact that? Or does it?
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I think a lot of people don't really know or understand that Black Lives Matter is a movement that's, decentralized, and there are lots of people all over the nation, all over the world that support it. But it's also a specific nonprofit that has had its share of ups and downs. And so I think one thing this lawsuit is going to do is it's going to start to make clear the different facets of what this looks like. I did find that study really interesting. Pew Research did that a few months back, compared to, say, some other long legacy civil rights groups like the NAACP and the Urban League. I think that already since 2020, Black Lives Matter has had some hits taken against it because of speculation about how money is being funded, infighting within the group. So I think this is now starting to spell out into the larger public. So we'll see if it does have an effect on the movement. I can't see how it wouldn't, though.
And as we said at the top of this, you are an LA Times columnist. You wrote this article, concluding that, quote, I fear Black Lives Matter. The movement will never matter as much as it once did. How significant of a blow do you think this is for the movement? And how is the impact different for Black America versus America overall?
I think a lot of it's going to depend on what we find out in this lawsuit. I mean, if there is some level of financial malfeasance, if members of the boards of directors are indeed taking money and using fraud and using it for self-dealing, I think that's going to have a major blow, because that's going to be a sense of, do we want to continue to donate to this organization? Is this organization actually representing Black interests, Black Americans, or is it just existing to kind of for people to line their own pockets? I think that right now we are at a point in this country where Black Lives Matter and the future of Black Americans are very intertwined, if not necessarily on the individual level, I think on the grander public political realm. And so I think that it will have an effect on issues that are in the news, like critical race theory, or various other efforts to police reform, various other efforts for equity. I think that it just creates a kind of a way to weaponize these issues and say, well, Black Lives Matter is corrupt. Why should we listen to anything you have to say? So it's going to have an effect. It's just a matter of how much that effect is going to affect policy.
Yeah, we'll certainly have to wait and see a bit. LA Times columnist, author of this article, Erica Smith, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.